Perfect.
Yes, sir.
Cool. So welcome all. It has been a wonderful journey so far, and I'm really excited about these. Due to COVID, we got into this situation, but because of this, we got this idea, and I'm able to again start up this whole thing. And yeah, I'm super excited about this whole thing. So this is how the webinar is planned, guys. I think some of you are repeating this day, so I'm just explaining few things which will be repetitive to you. Till 12:30 we will cover all the basic things, and after 12:30 we'll take a short 30 minutes break, maybe for lunch or some relaxation, and then after 12:30 we will go till 2:30 or 3:30 or whichever time permits. There's no hard limit on these webinars. So as long as you have your questions and doubts and queries, we can continue. Half an hour extra is absolutely fine with me. So feel free to be very relaxed and very casual about these conversations. So these webinars are planned in a way. Am I audible to everyone, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Cool. So these webinars are planned in a way where you can we can continue meeting in the weekend, and I'll give you exercises which you will be doing throughout the week, because weekdays I have my own job and work and stuff. So weekdays I'll be able to just see your messages on the Telegram group. So all of you are attending today, or anybody who's attending the student test session will be added to the Telegram group. And Telegram is basically a small application just like WhatsApp, but WhatsApp has a group size limitation, and Telegram doesn't have that limited size. So that's why I chose Telegram, and it's as good as WhatsApp. If you have not used Telegram, please try it. It's one of the most popular apps for groups and group sharing. So you can put your work on Telegram, and there are other students. We can discuss stuff within amongst within ourselves, and we learn through peer-to-peer learning. Also, guys, one of your mic is open, I think so. There's an echo. Please mute your mic. You can unmute only when you are willing to speak. Okay. Cool. Great. So the webinars are planned in a way that it will be very easy for you to interact with other students as well as with me. And weekend to weekend we will have review sessions. We will take the course forward. I will cover all the things in detail. Today is the first session which I will give you a basic overview of the entire preparation process. And trust me, this will be a very interesting, very good experience for you guys, because most of the time what people used to spend their time on traveling and going to a typical coaching class and all, that is completely eliminated. Most of the time, luckily you are right now at home, and you have all the time in the world to work on your stuff, and most of the preparation is going to happen when you're sitting at home. So don't worry about this COVID situation or anything like that. Whatever is the situation, we'll take the best use of it, and I'll try to keep pushing ideas and exercises from my end. You also try your hardest to use every single minute of the day to kind of maximize that preparation effort. Okay. So with this, we'll start with a very formal introduction, like who you are, from where you are, what schooling or education you have done so far, and what are your plans for NID or UCED or SEED or whichever course you are aiming for, any particular hobbies or interest, whatever you have done so far, you can cover in detail. For example, I am from Bangalore, and I have done masters and stuff like that. I have attempted NID or any exam before or not. This is my first attempt, and I'm interested in graphic design or industrial design or transportation design or fashion design. Anything you can cover up like that. So basically, we'll have an idea like what sort of preparation you are looking for, and then it will be very easy for me to give you a specific guidance on your stream particularly. So if you are going for a, let's say, post grade for industrial design, it will be very easy for me to give you specific exercises, and I'll stress upon the points that you particularly have to work on. Okay. And it's completely fine if you still don't know anything about it. Just give me an idea about what level of preparation you are at right now. suppose you have not heard about much about NID, or how the preparation process works, it's totally fine. We will cover it up, and I'll give you the entire intro. So just tell me briefly about yourself, so that we can have a better understanding. Okay, so we can start with Zui.
Everyone, my name is Zui. I'm from Kolhapur and I'm interested for NID and UCID. I'm preparing for undergraduation
Okay.
and mostly my interest in UI UX design. I'm not much sure about it, but I think I can look on it.
Okay, so you are right now in 12th, or you have finished your 12th?
No, I'm right now in 12th.
Okay, cool, great. You are from which stream? PCM?
Science.
Science. Okay, cool, great. Thank you. Next, Shreyas.
Yeah, good morning, sir. So I am currently in class 11
Okay.
and I am from West Bengal,
Okay.
600 kilometers from Kolkata.
Okay.
And I am little bit interested in industrial design, a part of product design. So
Okay.
I'm also not sure about it, but I think I can do it. And I know a little bit of sketching and stuff like that, not much about it.
Okay.
And yeah, just preparing for, yeah.
Okay, great. So, going for a PG or undergrad?
Oh, sorry, sir, I forgot it. Yeah, I am from PG, sir.
Okay. Okay, cool. So,
Sorry, PG, sir. No, sir, no PG, no PG. UG, sir, UG, undergrad.
okay, so you are right now in 12th.
No, sir, 11.
Okay, fine. Yeah, good. Sorry. Yeah. You are from West Bengal, right? Okay. Math stream, right? PCM.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Who's next? Sakshi?
Hi, sir. This is Sakshi Kedia here. I'll be completing my BBA graduation this year.
Okay.
So I'm looking for post-graduation, and all of this is decided this year. So if I would have rushed into for this year, I would have applied for interior design.
Okay.
But now I thought of taking a year break and then exactly knowing what I should go for,
Okay.
and then applying for it. So I waited for next year since NID all the exams were over. I wasn't aware of it, but yeah, for next year I'll be applying for it.
Cool. No issue.
And I'm not sure about my discipline right now.
Okay, cool. Interesting. You're from where? Which?
Rourkela, Odisha.
Okay, Rourkela. Okay, okay, cool. Who's next? Swastik?
Good morning, sir. I am Swastik from Odisha.
Mm-hmm.
I am currently studying class 12 PCM and I am preparing for UG course.
Okay.
So I'm primary fields I would like to choose are industrial design, and secondary I would like to choose communication design.
Okay, good.
And first priority I would have for industrial design.
Perfect. Very good. Very interesting. So all of you guys are comfortable with Hindi or like only English?
Comfortable with both.
Okay, fine.
Sir, I am comfortable.
Both, sir.
Okay, fine. Arka, sorry, I missed your name.
Yes, sir. Myself, Orko Ghosh. I'm from Kolkata.
Okay.
I have completed my graduation with physics honors.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, last year I have appeared in both NID and NIST. So I am interested in graphic design, film and video design, and lifestyle accessories design.
Okay.
I ranked 73 last year on lifestyle accessories design.
Okay.
Now I am little bit confused with which stream I should apply for. So I will go see the next year, or I will do the preparation. Then I will choose.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Amrit? Hello?
Yes, sir. I'm Amrut Patel
Mm-hmm.
from Kolhapur,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm from science stream and currently studying in 12th.
Okay.
I'm preparing for NID UCID in industrial design.
Okay, cool. Great. So we have some very talented bunch of students here. Very, very warm welcome and happy to have you here. So yeah. So the process is like if you have any particular doubts, we can take up forward initially, or should I start with the basic introduction? So see, the first thing that any design exam, any good design exam looks for is basically a person who has a different sort of observation skills, which is not very prominent with common people. So a designer is somebody who can see which is not existing, and you can visualize things and you can create something, right? So anybody who is coming into an art field or into design particularly is somebody who has a very responsible job, or very complicated job of creating something which is not there before, not it doesn't exist, whether it's a film or whether it's a costume, whether it's furniture, or whether it's an industrial design object, or it's a car. We are supposed to create something which doesn't exist, right? So we need a different kind of mindset. That's why the slide, are you able to see the slide, by the way?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Oh, cool.
Yes, sir.
So the first point is a new mindset. So why I'm talking, so this particular session we will be focusing particularly on the mindset and the process part. Once these things are very clear, we will be going ahead with different components of the preparation, right? So the first thing that is very very critical is building up that mindset. We all have certain kind of creativity in us, but as a designer we have to polish that creativity. We have to sharpen our knives in terms of that creative ability, right? So the first thing is which is the biggest fundamental pillar of design career is having the right mindset. And what I mean by right mindset is your ability to look at things from a very designer's perspective, from a very creative perspective, which doesn't come naturally to other people. So the fundamental part of having the right mindset is basically looking at things from a very open-ended perspective. What I mean by open-ended perspective is, suppose you see a watch like this. Now, as a layman, what 5-6 observations you will have about this watch? Let's say this is a very regular watch. Okay, this is a Samsung Gear 2 sports gear. But as a layman, what observations you have about this watch? You can speak one by one. Can you see the watch?
Yes, sir.
So what all observations you have about this watch?
As a layman, or yeah.
I mean, you as a person. I will forget about layman. What are your observations about this watch?
Okay, so dial shape, dial style. Okay, so strap style and the hook style,
Mm-hmm.
and those punch holes for the strap on the strap.
Okay. What else?
Yes, yeah.
What did you observe?
Yeah, there.
This watch is an all black watch. So something like that.
So the sensor,
Mm-hmm.
the sensor at the back of the watch,
Right.
and the rubber material.
What else? What else can you talk about a person who owns this watch? Like, what can you tell about his personality or his personality?
Sophisticated and
Sorry.
into a very professional job or something.
Okay. What else?
Broad wrist, because the dial is broad,
Mm-hmm.
so it suits for a broad wrist, right?
Common man, I will first see the color and the style of the watch.
Okay.
If a person owns it, I can say that he is kind of a techie guy,
Okay.
not a professional and like that.
Yeah,
Because
very
I watch that the professionals people only wear the analog watches like Rolex and something.
very
So I will definitely say that this is not of a professional person. This is kind of a techie guy or who is kind of quite different. And first of all, from the dial, I can see that this is a smartwatch.
Right.
So he must be and I can also say that he is from the elite part of the society economically,
Right.
because not everyone can afford this kind of watches.
Right.
So that
Good. So see, this small exercise is basically to have a particular mindset, like what do we generally observe versus so you will see that 2 weeks down the line you will have at least 20 more different observation points about a particular thing, whether it's a watch or whether it's a knife lying around and stuff like that. So we will be working on this mindset where you have an enhanced perception, enhanced observation skills. The first part of mindset is opening up your observation skills, opening up your ability to perceive things, observe things in a new fashion. What I mean by new fashion is a person, let's say this is a plier. Okay, now a normal person would say, oh, this is just a plier. But as a designer, we will observe how the rubber grip is about the plier, how the plier size is, how the weight of the plier affects, what are the kind of grooves that are created in the plier that makes it particularly useful for wire cutting or wire bending or these kind of things, right? And overall, we will see what all dimensions, what all physical aspects this plier has. If this plier is made out of gold or has a gold polish, do you still think it's a very layman's tool? No, right? If anything is created from a gold polish, then it is supposed to be like a very premium stuff and stuff like that. So these kind of little things we will improve on the observation part. Second thing, when it comes to mindset, is you have to consider that as a designer, there are no right and wrongs like in a typical education system we used to have. Like till your 10th or 12th, you have studied that okay, there is only one right answer to a mathematical problem or stuff like that. So in design world, it's never one right answer kind of a thing. So for example, these are two emergency torches I have, right? Both I bought from DMart, and both of them are like very functional and very unique. I mean, they both serve their purpose. So I won't say that this is a right kind of design and this is a wrong kind of design, right? So in design, there are multiple right answers and multiple types of answers. It's just that which design fits which kind of expectations and who is the right audience for what kind of design. So for example, a Rolls Royce kind of a car is also a very well designed car, and a Maruti 800 kind of car is also a very good design. It's just that what kind of buyers, what kind of users are going to use a Rolls Royce versus what kind of user is going to buy a 800, right? So in design, the first thing we need to change as a mindset is there can be multiple answers, multiple options to a given problem. Okay, first thing. Second thing is there is no one process or there is no one right way to do things. There can't be just one way to do things. I won't say that this torch is red color and this is the only right way to do it. There can be multiple colors for the same kind of light. There can be multiple types of switches. Sometimes it's a on-off switch, sometimes it's a push button switch, sometimes it's a touch sensor or anything like that. So our mindset so far has been to look at things in a very black and white manner, like either it's right or it's wrong, either it's good or it's bad. Sometimes it's not necessarily that it falls under one category. So it's more like going to a restaurant and tasting something. So for example, if you like a taste like butterscotch and I like a taste like vanilla, or somebody likes more of a chocolate flavor, so we all are equally happy with our own taste, right? And that's what design is about. You have to have an understanding and open-mindedness towards other people and their taste. Now comes to the second point of mindset is we need to have, as a designer, there's a difference between being a designer and being an artist. So you will be creative, you must be doing a lot of sketching, other sort of creative stuff. but what makes the difference between an artist and a designer is something very very crucial here, and I would like to have an opinion from your end, like what do you think is the difference between an artist and a designer? We can go one by one. Shreyas?
Um, okay, so I don't know much about it, but according to me, a designer starts creating new things in this world which does not exist previously, or it exists, but they start a kind of a new thing to every thing we see around us, and an artist is just he's just observing the environment. He's just painting. He's just sketching from a portrait. He's just sketching a portrait by seeing persons and yeah, stuff like that.
Right. Julie, what is your idea? Julie?
Someone
Yeah.
who observes things like in the way of a user-centric approach, but artist is someone who observes things like in an abstract kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Good
Good.
to explain it, but
Good.
something like that. And artist will be someone who will try to make something what is existing.
Okay.
Like, but designer will be someone who will try to innovate things.
Good. Good idea. Sakshi, your idea?
So artist is mainly pen and paper, and a designer is everyone, like pen, paper, product, material, everything.
Good. Good.
And artist is like someone who just sees from above, and designer is like the user as well as as well as someone who sees and everything, who analyzes, sees, observes everything.
Right. Right. Very good. So, okay. Anybody else has a perspective? Swastik, Amrut?
Sir, I will
Sir,
say that
according
both artists and designers are kind of similar in a way that the fundamental difference is designer what designs something, he or she designs for a general mass,
Mm-hmm.
and an artist designs it for himself to please himself.
Right.
Then we have the different kind of perspective of what माने मैं बताना चाह रहा हूँ कि कैसे वो एक व्यूअर के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है कि कैसे वो कंज्यूम करे. And someone said that artist is only pen and paper. I will disagree with that, because there are different kind of art forms like installation art, and
Right.
film is also an art, and
Right.
everything. I guess everything is kind of art. So this is not just pen and paper.
Yeah.
So that's it. I think.
Good. Good. Sahi jawab. Anybody else?
according to me, an artist, whatever he draws, sometimes it may be such that a normal person cannot understand that art. We need a different view
Right.
to understand that,
Right.
different perspective. A designer has to design something like that, that even a beggar or an uneducated person even can understand his concept by just seeing or hearing anything like that.
Perfect. Perfect. Very good. You guys are pretty smart. So yeah. So pretty much you have all summed up in a very nice manner. I would just say that yeah, we are pretty much there. So you have good understanding. I'll just explain it in a way, in a more concrete form, that artist को outcome से कोई लेना देना नहीं. You getting my point? Artist is about observing things and expressing it. So artist ने जब एक्सप्रेस कर दिया उसका काम खत्म. फॉर एग्जाम्पल MF Hussain, लाइक मोस्ट ऑफ अस नो अबाउट हिज नेम, एंड यू टेक एनी ग्रेट पेंटर, उन्होंने कुछ पेंटिंग बना दी, अब उसका काम खत्म. नाउ आपको समझ में आए ना आए ये आपकी प्रॉब्लम है. आर्टिस्ट विल नेवर से कि यू नो आपको पेंटिंग समझ में नहीं आ रही तो आपको नहीं akal nahi hai, ya, you don't get it, or you should study modern art and all that stuff. Artist has very little to do with the users, but designer has everything to do with the user. That is the most fundamental thing. You can take any object, any art form, or any sort of medium, whether it's oil painting on canvas, or whether it's installation art, or whether it's sculpting from stones, or whether it's doing anything live as a performance. If your users are not able to get what you're trying to do, or your users are not able to benefit out of it, then it's a nightmare for a designer. For example, मैंने ये फोन डिजाइन किया, अब मेरे लिए बहुत अच्छा फोन है, बट किसी ने खरीदा ही नहीं. Nobody actually bought the phone, nobody actually used the phone. Then am I a successful designer? No. I mean, for me, it will be like it's a bad experience that nobody used my design, right? So that is the fundamental difference. As an artist, I don't give a damn. I did this painting of Buddha, and I don't worry much about who understands it and who doesn't understand. I enjoyed the painting process. I loved the colors. Nobody can question me that why I use yellow and blue in Buddha, right? I can use brown, I can use black, I can use any color. But as a designer, you are supposed to answer these things. You are answerable because you are designing for your users. Any kind of design, when there are users to it, it becomes design. So let's say I created a sort of poster, and the poster is for communicating that I am kind of launching these webinars, or I am kind of creating this musical concert or anything. But अब किसी को वो poster समझ में ही नहीं आया. I wrote it in certain fonts and certain ways. I use some colors which are non-readable or very difficult to read. Then my job as a designer, I failed. But as an artist, I can say I did it, and it's an expression of art. That's why most of the modern art people don't just get it. Normal people have a very difficult time understanding the art, because it's not communicating. It's not expressing what the expression is not getting communicated what the artist is trying to say, right? But as an artist, they don't worry much about it. Like नहीं आ रहा समझ में तो नहीं आ रहा, आपकी problem है. So that is one fundamental difference. And secondly, when it comes to design, majority of the time the design is mass produced. Majority of the time it has to be used by multiple people. It cannot be like I designed something which is a watch like this, and I only have one piece of this watch. It happens very, very rarely. It can only happen in very, very luxury segments, like you go for a Patek Philippe watch which costs you around some $90 million, and then that watch is owned by somebody like Brad Pitt, and it's a custom made. But still, Patek Philippe as a brand, or the designers who are working under Patek Philippe, they have to design it for the general user. So even these luxury brands like Ferrari and Lamborghinis and Louis Vuitton and all, they will have exclusive collection which is very, very pricey, and they will have a regular collection which you can go in a store and buy. So these are the fundamental differences. And as a designer, we have to have that kind of mindset where from now on I have to think about the other person first. Now from now on I have to observe things from a user perspective, and from now on I have to learn and accept things from a user perspective. So for example, you are not into much of reading, okay? You are a person who enjoy movies, or going out, and you are not much into reading. But let's say you got a job as a editorial designer, or as a graphic artist in a publication house. So for example, you got a job in, say, DK Publication, where they produce books, a lot of books for all sorts of education industry. Now as a designer, you have to think about users who are reading your content. You may not enjoy reading yourself, but you still have to think. Let's say you got placed in Amazon. So now Amazon has this device called Kindle. I don't know how many of you are aware of it, but this is a device specifically designed for reading. So it's a black and white device. There's no color in it, but you can just read books back to back. And the best part is this doesn't have any sort of disturbance. The viewing angle and all those things, it really looks like paper. And the feel of it is pretty comfortable. The battery lasts for months and months, sort of a thing. So are you getting my point? So the point is, as a designer, you have to be very sensitive to other people, to the environments, to the challenges they are facing, to the problems or goods and the bads that they have in their day-to-day life, and also be very open to your work. I mean, feedback on your work. Like for example, you designed something and you found it very wow, very interesting, but as a user, I didn't like the stuff much, or as a user, I said like, oh, I find it very difficult to use this thing, or as a let's say you created a poster and most people found that the dates were not readable, or the events were not very well structuredized, or the information that you were trying to show were not communicating well. So you as a designer should be humble enough to accept the fact that okay, you did some mistakes, and you should have the attitude to improve on it. You should be able to fix it. So as an artist, people are generally very reluctant to take feedback. Generally, an artist will not ask for what do you think about my painting and stuff like that. Should I change the yellow to blue or blue to green? Or there's nobody who is asking you to take that concern. But as a designer, it's of prime importance. It's very, 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 very critical that as a designer, you should be always looking for feedback and open to feedback. You getting my point? Any confusion, any doubt so far?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Anyone?
No, sir.
Me?
No, sir.
All good? Good. So now the process is that we will be starting with basic observation exercises. Then we will discuss what all are the observations. We will discuss how to enhance our observation skills and how to practice these observation things. Everything that a good designer is able to do comes from the point of observation. So for example, this particular small torch that I bought, this one particularly I bought in 2017. Then after that I bought this one in 2018. Then a couple of other models came in, and I keep buying these small torches, and I realize that every 1 to 2 years there is a betterment of the product. There's an improvement in the product. So as a designer, the first thing you should do is start observing things around you. What I mean by things around you is you don't have to be extremely specific about the product. Anything which is lying around in your house right now can be a good use case for observation. So we'll start with a very simple exercise. Like this is a particular like very regular average everyday pencil, and I'm sure you all have used one of these in sometime in your life. So I want to write 20 observation points about this pencil, or it can be any pencil, any Natraj, any Apsara, any regular pencil which you have used, which has like these 6 sides and all. This particular pencil, if you can see and memorize in your mind, you can easily write 20 points about it. Are you able to see this pencil clearly?
Yes, sir.
Cool. So
Yes, sir.
So within next 10 minutes, right now it's 11:15 in my watch. Within next 10 minutes, write 20 observation points about this pencil. And it can be any sort of observation points. It can be also regarding the use of the pencil, the weight of the pencil, the particular length, or any physical attributes about the pencil. You can write anything imaginative also about the pencil, and be very, very open-ended about it. Like I explained in the first process, there are no right and wrong answers here. You can go any which way as far as your imagination is concerned, and try to be just focused around the pencil aspect of the product. Like don't go like I used to use this pencil when I was in second standard. I mean that's a memory. That's not an observation. Observation is something like there is no rubber behind this pencil. You see, there's no rubbering that is generally available in a typical school pencil. So these kind of observations you can say, whether it is available in the object or not, you can write it as an observation that this is something that I have observed in a pencil. or it can be small sort of an idea also about the pencil. Right, I have given you enough hints. Now you can go as wild as possible, but the number of observations should be 20. Okay, start now. Everybody got the assignment?
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So the second exercise is about newspapers, right? I am sure we all have newspapers at home. You guys have?
Yes, sir.
Or any magazine. Take any magazine which you have, if not newspaper. And the exercise is to find five different types of fonts, or I would say 10 different types of fonts. Okay. So 10 different means you can find the even if the font size is variation, you can mark it. So the exercise is जैसे ये हमने लिया first font is the B, right? This particular font. Then this particular font. This is a serif font. This is a sans serif font, right? I'll explain you what all are these things, but you have to observe that कितने type का different size का font use हुआ है newspaper में. Even if the color is different, you can mention it. Also observe the logos around the newspaper, like where all there are different kinds of logos available in the newspaper. Do you identify the brand or not? And the third thing is, if any one of you knows what are these 4 color dots means, we will discuss. Another 10-minute assignment. Just take out any newspaper or any magazine which is lying around at your place and mark those observation points that this is the font which I find very different from the other fonts. If there is height variation or line variation or any kind of variation in the font, you can mark it as an observation point. Mark all the logos that you find across in the newspaper and give me the answer for these 4-5 yellow dots. For in my newspaper there is 5, but generally there are 4 colors. What that stand for? I mean, why they are printed in newspapers? Got the assignment? Any doubts?
Yes, sir. No, sir.
Okay. So guys, the idea here is to help you prepare on a day-to-day basis. Under my guidance, I will be monitoring your progress and give you tips and tricks and suggestions on an everyday basis. I can monitor your work, how much you are progressing every day, whether you are doing the exercises on time or not, and I can nudge you in a timely manner where I am able to tell you that hey, you are not practicing the right way. It's been a month and you are not improving on the sketching part or visualization or 3D modeling or anything like that. So a lot of guys who prepare, they do a lot of hard work, but they're not doing the right kind of hard work. They are not doing things the right way, and they're still stuck at practicing things in the wrong way. And that is where I think the webinar is going to help you a lot, where I will be monitoring your mistakes and I'll be able to stop you whether you are doing things in the wrong way, and if you are not practicing the right things at the right time, or you are spending too much time at the wrong things, then I'll be able to point out sooner in the practice. So it's a very good idea, and I think you should join the webinars and start practicing with me. Okay. So with this, I'll end this video. I hope you like the practice session sample, and these kind of webinars will keep happening every weekend. So the sooner you join, the better are your chances of getting selected. And as you just saw, there is a lot of good quality student work on a day-to-day basis. I want you to join this exciting journey, and let's prepare together, because in the past, if you had enjoyed Edilab's videos, these webinars are going to be 10 times more exciting, fun, and an awesome journey together. So please register soon. The link is in the description box.